First sightings. William Cobbett recalled in his Rural Rides how, as a boy in the 1760s, he had seen a cat, as big as a middle-sized spaniel dog, climb into a hollow elm tree in the grounds of the ruined Waverley Abbey near Farnham in Surrey. Later, in New Brunswick, he saw a Lucifee North American lynx Felis lynx canadensis, and it seemed to me to be just such a cat as I had seen at Waverley. Another report appeared in the Daily Express on the 14th of January 1927 of a lynx being seen. The New Forest folktale of the Stratford-Leon tells of how John de Stratford pulled a giant, red, antlered lion from the ground at South Baddesley in the New Forest in the year 1400. The story is first recorded in the marginalia of an 18th-century Bible. In the late 20th century, sightings of the lion were recorded in the vicinity of the Red Lion pub, Bouldray. Further back there is a medieval Welsh poem par Gwr in the Black Book of Carmarthen which mentions a cath palag, meaning Palag's cat, or clawing cat, which roamed Anglesey until slain by Cei. In the Welsh triads, it was the offspring of the monstrous sow henwen. Recent sightings. The modern wave of big cat reports stems from the late 1950s, with regular news stories of the Surrey puma and the fen tiger. 1959. Surrey. The first possible sightings were recorded in 1959, when police received a number of reports of big cats in the Farnham area, near the Surrey-Hampshire border. 1962 and 1963. Hampshire, Surrey and Greater London. Two further sightings were recorded, in 1962, by waterboard personnel in Hampshire, and a third in the winter of 1962 to 1963, of a cat-like beast seen at Busheley's Farm, Crundle, Hampshire, when a police officer sighted the supposed Shooters Hill cheetah in southeast London in 1963. Media interest turned to other big cat sightings. 1964. Surrey. In August 1964, a bullock at Busheley's Farm was found severely lacerated. Following press coverage, numerous reports of contact with the animal, dubbed the Surrey puma, came to the press, ranging from the fanciful to some taken seriously by the police. A plaster cast of a paw print measuring 5 inches, 13 centimeters, across was handed into Godalming Police Station in Surrey, who had an active file on big cats that were harming livestock. The paw print was publicly displayed. Reports noted that its size implied an extremely large specimen, and that there were distinct differences between it and the alleged European prints of other pumas. The investigation file was closed in summer 1967. The police station's logbook also lists 362 sightings of alien big cats, ABCs, occurring between September 1964, August 1966. 1966. Surrey. In August 1966, former police photographer Ian Pert took a grainy photograph of a cat facing the camera in Worplesdon, with a longer-than-average body length. 1968 and 1970. Surrey. In 1968, a farmer claimed to have shot a puma, but could not provide any evidence. Sightings gradually tailed off, although paw prints found in the snow in 1970 generated a flurry of further reports. 1970s. From the 1970s, reports spread across the country. The beast of Exmoor was reported from Devon and Somerset, the Stratford-Leon was reported around the Red Lion pub, Bouldray, and the Sheppey Panther has been rumoured to exist since that decade. The Hurtwood spans Farley Green, Pitch Hill, Peacelake, and Holmberry Hill. 1975. Surrey. An 8-year-old boy was playing alone in woodland in Chiddingfold at 51.1117 degrees north, 0.62507 degrees west. This backs onto a field, from which he alleged a golden-coloured big cat entered the woodland. The cat walked, what amounted to, west, staying close to the edge of the field, and, while passing about 10 meters away, turned its head, staring momentarily at the boy, but was disinterested and carried on walking. When asked if it could have been a dog, the boy replied no, because it had a long curved tail, a wide head, and it picked its feet up like a cat, but it was the same size as a big dog. 1984. Surrey. In 1984, hair samples taken at Peace Lake, a few miles northeast in the heavily wooded part of Greensand Ridge, were identified as puma. Better source needed. In the previous year, an unclassified big cat dubbed Alien featured in the Archers and the Beast of Exmoor made national headlines. In came the first modern report from Scotland, and the Kellis cat was shot there in 1984. 1992. Greater interest in phantom cats grew from headline stories of the Beast of Bodmin from 1992 and Dumfries and Galloway, the Galloway puma. In the historic Buchan area of Aberdeenshire, the creature is dubbed the Beast of Buchan, and sightings are regularly documented. A black panther known as the Beast of Dartmoor was reportedly seen by a group of 15 people, including M. Warburton, in summer 2011 in the Haldon Forest. There were many more news stories from different parts of the country. 1995. The Surrey Advertiser newspaper reported a sighting recorded by police officer Steve Ashcroft outside Hilltop St. Teresa's School, Effingham. 2003. Surrey. Detective Constable Stephen Ashcroft saw the same or similar up at Homebury Hill in June 2003. An area with sightings logged within the following 12 months by Peter Hayes, warden of the Hurtwood, which covers the hill and the ridge to its north and west. 2004. Surrey. The newspaper added residents of Abinger Common, the neighbouring woodland and farmland area, who reported that in the last 2 weeks they had seen a big cat, relying on the Big Cat Survey by the British Big Cats Organisation. 2005. Surrey. A Mr. Fowler, visiting with his partner at Winkworth Arboretum, sent their video camera footage to a local newspaper, which they reproduced in stills. They described this animal as gingery brown color, about the size of an Alsatian dog, but it definitely wasn't a fox. Surrey Wildlife Trust Ranger Mark Havler believed it was an Iberian lynx, Lynx pardinus, and received 15 calls of sightings in the following 2 weeks. Reports that year logged at the Surrey Advertiser headquarters were of more than one non-native wild cat in the borough of Guildford and neighbouring districts, some of spots and a bobtail on a sandy-coloured animal, suggesting a lynx, others of no spots and a long tail, which could mean a puma. 2 residents' walkers' names were included in their published overview report across the years since the 1960s. The reporter interviewed the animal liaison officer of Marwell Zoo outside of the sightings area to assess whether the old and new findings were linked, who explained the need for sufficient breeding pairs given these animals' wild lifespan, with say at a 1 in 99 likelihood in ideal conditions of having multi-generational offspring, if the first alleged sightings were true, and he expressed doubt on the veracity of most reports. The report states that over 40 years ago, thus around 1964, it reported the first appearance of a golden brown animal of around 3 to 5 feet in length, while he was blackberrying one lunchtime, by George Wisdom, who described himself as a Munstead workman. Munstead is a wooded part of Busbridge noted for the vernacular-style arts and crafts house and garden at Munstead Wood. 2011. In the early months of 2011, a great number of sightings of a panther in Shotts, North Lanarkshire, stirred locals and began to be reported in the local press. After a couple of months, these reports ceased with the assumption that the panther had moved onto pastures new. 2012. One of the most recent reports was of that of the Essex lion, a lion purportedly roaming around Essex during summer 2012. Initially sighted from a caravan park, there were also reports of lion roaring heard in the local area. A photograph was taken by one witness. Police advised local residents to stay indoors and a search was made of the local area, but nothing was found. Local zoos and visiting circuses were contacted, but none reported an escaped lion. A Ms. Murphy later claimed the photograph was that of her pet Maine Coon cat, Teddy. 2013. In 2013, in a small village on the Shropshire-Wrexham border, 2 sisters reported seeing a large, black, feeled with a 3-foot, 1 m, stride jumping a fence and disappearing into a neighbouring field. On returning in the day, they discovered a large pair and paw prints too big to belong to a domesticated cat. A one-time zookeeper at Chester Zoo and Dudley Zoo, Mr. Larkham, agreed that the paw prints do not belong to a domesticated cat, but were too small to be those of a panther. He believed it could be the descendant of the Shropshire jungle cat from the 1980s, or a gigantic domesticated cat. 2019. In April 2019 it was claimed that a big cat was sighted in the Cornish village of Harrobarrow after it attacked a dog. Residents claimed that 5 local pet cats had disappeared and that a local herd of deer was no longer visiting the fields near the village. A large paw print, identified as that of a panther or puma by the RSPCA, was also found. Footage of a black panther-like cat emerged a few days later. Species that have been noted only occasionally include the leopard cat, which is the size of a domestic cat, but has leopard-like spots, the clouded leopard, a specialized species from the tropics which was captured after living wild in Kent in 1975. And there are even extraordinary cases of lions being reported in Devon and Somerset. A Maine Coon, the largest breed of domestic cat. At a recorded maximum length of 120 centimeters, 47 in, including tail, Maine Coon cats can reach the length of Eurasian lynxes, although with a much lighter build and lower height, their light bodies somewhat concealed by their heavy fur. A fully grown Maine Coon cat. In August 2012, several sightings of a lion were reported near St. Osyth in Essex. Police searched the area using helicopters and infrared cameras, instructing residents to stay in their homes. Despite speculation that the lion had escaped from Colchester Zoo or a local circus, all such animals were accounted for.